Welcome back to the archives and to the Cloudchildren. Welcome back to my second attempt at a fantasy novel. Is it better than The Sorcerer's Children? I really couldn't tell you. Where were we at here? We are still working on the first chapter that is Jesse's perspective because, again, Jesse was my favorite character, and so Jesse did get a 20-page chapter, partially because I loved her, but also partially because Jesse did get the chapter where we explained the entire story, which we have just done. It's the same concept as The Sorcerer's Children, where these are magical children of some sort, but instead of having sorcerers for parents, all of these children are descended from these two different families that did a bunch of experiments and managed to get cloud blood. And that has given them magic powers. So there are two families. There are descendants of Jessica and Benjamin. Some of them are descended from Lily and Jackson. Lily and Jackson were evil. Jessica and Benjamin were good. We're going simple with that. But not all children of Lily and Jackson were evil, and not all children of Benjamin and Jessica were good. And it just so happens that these two, well, so far we've got two main characters. We have Jesse and Matt. They are brother and sister. They are descended from Cloudchildren from each side. So I think their dad was descended from Lily and Jackson, and their mom was descended from Benjamin and Jessica, and they are the only Cloudchildren that have blood from both sides. And so they're super powerful. They're wanted by this evil person named Bot. And he is not a cloud child, but he is a magician, and I don't know what the difference is. And they have just been rescued by a man named Seth, who found them after they both escaped from different orphanages and defeated this wolf man. And Seth found them, and Seth is apparently the good counterpart of Bot, which makes it sound like he's not a cloud child. He's a magician. Don't know the difference. This evil magician Bot has murdered Jesse and Matt's parents. They ended up in orphanages. Now they're back together, and they have been brought to what he called a base camp. I was intending it to be a sort of a village. We are still in this girl's perspective. She has just been given about 3 pages of exposition, and now we're moving on from that because we have explained. There is no more explanation needed. They have been told that it is time to go figure out what their powers are, and off they go to begin their training. So they have just had breakfast. Jesse had French toast and apple juice, and Matt had a croissant. In case you were wondering, Jesse is wearing a blue tank top and red jean shorts, but she does not have caramel colored hair. Oh yeah, there's 3 other main characters that we haven't really gotten to yet. We'll come to it after Jesse's 20-page chapter. So they are off to their training. The rest of the mansion was awesome. That is how we start this next scene. They're in a mansion. That's where Jesse slept the night before. Jesse and Matt slept in they got these rooms in this mansion. They are amazing. I described these rooms. It took me 3 paragraphs to describe these rooms, and it did include an extensive description on how great the toothpaste was. So, different training rooms that include classrooms, gyms, swimming centers, and other assorted places. Oh, including a giant library. They love their books. Instead of letting them train, Seth brings them outside, and Jesse gasps because the landscape has changed. Now, this part I am pretty sure is also based on a dream that I had. The entire story is not. We're not Sorcerer's Children level of this, but I do think that this was a dream because Jesse goes outside and the landscape has changed. So last night when they got there, it was this open courtyard party. Basically, everyone's just having fun. Now it's different, and they're in a forest. So the way that I had envisioned it in my mind is that every morning, afternoon, evening, the landscape outside in this village, camp, whatever the hell you want to call it, it changes. So in the morning, it's a forest. In the evening, it's a party, plaza, square kind of thing. I don't remember what it was in the afternoon. We'll probably get there at some point. It looked like the type of forest that fairies would live in. Why? Mountains in the background. The air was cool with a hint of breeze, and the air smells fresh and minty cool. Jesse's chill about it. Oh, there's speakers and acoustic guitars coming across the speakers. Oh, it makes her sad because, she played guitar. Jesse played guitar at the orphanage because once again, Jesse's perfect. Jesse does it all. Seth leads them through some trees. I could see some other buildings. One of them seemed to be a shop. Others seemed to be fun houses. What is that? And some were eateries. Of course they were. Every story I've ever written until I got to Beautiful Lives was very focused around whatever food I felt like I wanted to be eating at the time. When I wrote this, I probably really wanted some French toast. That's probably why I wrote that. It was like a mini city, but in a forest. So Seth leads them to a short, squat, white building with a red door. Here is where you'll register, so we know who's in the city. Oh, it's a city. It's not a camp, it's a city. They don't stay there for very long, I don't think. Brings us to a desk. Okay, there is a bored-looking girl at the desk. Brown hair with white blonde streaks. Eyes are heavy, covered with makeup. She has a tattoo on her arm, and she is wearing a strapless shirt and a pair of short shorts. No colors. Lame. She gives them a clipboard and says, sign your name and I'll book you in. So she writes Jesse Prince on the clipboard. But we don't change the font for when she writes Jesse Prince because we're already in her papyrus font. Seth, the leader, he's still with them. And this girl types Jesse and Matt's names into a computer and then looks at Seth and she looks really annoyed. And he goes, Emily, my dear, try to stay optimistic. After you blew up Tommy's books, we had to give you some kind of assignment to make you prove your worth. Get another Tom. The girl, who must have been Emily, yes, he just referred to her as Emily. She just snorts and turns away. Well, children, you've registered, so let's start your training, Seth decided. Next few hours are a blur. What do they get up to? She trains in classrooms and gyms. She does obstacle courses and race down water slides. I fought monsters. Oh, I learned regular subjects like English and math. I learned spells and potions. Oh my god. Can you say Harry Potter? Oh, best part of the day. Brought to a library, given a piece of paper. People told me to write a story. She's probably a writer too. Of course she is. When I was done writing the story, they transformed it into some random language called Cloud Speak. Oh, creativity. There were missions and mysteries, games and groups, everything you could possibly want. It was all here. I had lunch halfway through the day, but it was a blur in my mind as I got back to my room. We don't say what she had for lunch. It was that busy of a day. She doesn't even remember. Oh, but she goes back to bed, realizes that her stomach's growling, so she goes down to the buffet room and gets a slice of pizza. All right, so she's in the buffet room eating some pizza, and suddenly somebody comes up to her and says, excuse me, is anyone sitting there? It is a girl about her age, and she sits down. Do we say what color her hair is? We don't. No, we don't say. Maybe we will later. This girl introduces herself as Zoe. Do you remember the second of the 3 prologues? This is our next main character. Zoe sits down beside Jesse, says she's new. Jesse says, yeah, I'm new too. Jesse feels a bond beginning between them, asks where she's from. Oh, sorry, Zoe asks Jesse where she's from. And Jesse says she doesn't know. I was born in Canada, but then moved to Chicago. Hey, Lexi lived there. Then I was in Illinois for a while, and now I don't know where I am. How about you? Zoe says she was born in Scotland, and then moved to Ireland, and then all around Europe. I did not remember that Zoe lived in Europe. I don't have a home anymore. Well, you do now. I know how you feel. Oh, and Zoe says, yeah, you do, because she can tell. She and Jesse are kindred spirits. And Jesse asks Zoe, what about your parents? Zoe says, they died when I was really young. Jesse says, Zoe, I'm so sorry. Zoe says, no, it's fine. You didn't know. And Jesse says, I know what you're going through. And Zoe says, well, I'm not really sure you can. Nobody does. And Jesse says, actually, my parents died too. And Zoe's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Jesse says, no, it's fine, really. And Zoe says, you really do understand. No one has ever understood. And Jesse says, ditto. I have a younger brother. He drives me nuts. His name is Rick. Do you remember? This is the 4th character now. And Jesse says, yeah, that sounds like my brother. So he says, oh my God, you have a little brother? Oh my God, we're a lot alike. Because their parents died and they both have brothers. And we look alike, says Jesse. I've always wanted a ... And Jesse says, sister. And then they both start crying. And then Jesse says, I remember you. Okay. There was somebody else there that day, says Zoe, when daddy ... And Jesse says, died. So Zoe and Jesse are sisters. They have figured that out because they both have brothers and they related to each other and their parents died and they realize they look alike because I guess they both have brown hair and suddenly they remember each other because they were there. They both remember the day that daddy died. I don't understand, says Zoe. Couldn't help agreeing with her. And then they both say Seth and they run off to find him. And that is the end of that scene. So they get to Seth. Seth says, my 2 new ladies. How are you, my girls? And Jesse immediately just says, Seth, are we sisters? And he says, well, how did you know that? So he says, so we are. So Seth says, your parents had more than 2 children. And yes, you are sisters. You're very keen to observe that. Jesse says, well, what about Matt and Rick? And he says, yes, they're brothers as well. And they're your brothers. Okay, so now there's 4 of them. Are there 4 of them? There were 5. What about Gatsby? Yeah, don't worry, she's coming. I can't believe this. We're sisters. Oh my God, they're freaking out. Seth says, go eat your dinner. Find your brothers and tell them. You deal with it. Good night, ladies. Oh, I still can't believe it, says Zoe. I've always wished for a sister. And then 2 people yell their names. And Matt and another boy show up. So it's Matt and Rick. Zoe and Jesse tell them to sit down and say, there's something we have to tell you, because now the 4 of them have realized that they are a family. They are the Prince family, and there is a 5th one coming, but we haven't gotten there yet. After what felt like countless hours of explanations, we finally reached the end. We're brothers? Matt sounds stunned, and Zoe says, yeah. And the boys turned and give each other a high five, and Rick says, my sister drives me crazy. You haven't seen her in 3 years. I've always wanted a brother. Hey, says Zoe, and the boys get up and run away. So that is the telling of Rick. Wow, this scene is super short, because then, should we go back to our rooms and get some sleep, sis, says Jesse, and they go back to bed, and that's it. That's the end of the scene. Now we skip a few days forward. So next few days, all I did was train. I had very little time to look around the city, but I also had no need to. Because it changed form 3 times a day. So in the morning, it's a forest. Oh, and then it's a big modern city in the afternoon. And then in the evenings, it's a cozy square full of parties and life. Zoe and I hung out a lot, trying to catch up on what we missed. Matt spends his time with Rick. I could tell they were truly happy, so these 4 are bonding. One day on my way to class, I found a little girl, probably about 10. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I remember that I wrote her like she's a lot younger than the rest of them. But if she's 10, Rick's supposed to be 10 as well. Whatever. She's supposed to be the little baby. Jessie finds this little girl huddled in the corner. So she goes over to see if she's okay. And this little girl says, who are you? Jessie says, I won't hurt you. Are you okay? No, says this girl. Oh, there's a cut on her arm. And Jessie asks what happened. And this girl says she was fighting and she got cut. But it's okay, I can heal anything. So this girl's sitting in the corner crying, but she can heal herself. So before healing herself, she's just decided to have a moment to just sit in the corner and cry so that Jessie can find her. So she just heals herself. No problem. Wow, how did you do that? Says Jessie. The little girl says, I don't know. I can heal anyone. Jessie says, are you okay now? And the little girl says, I was afraid. That's my justification for why she was crying and hadn't healed herself yet, is that she was scared. So she just sat in a corner and cried for a little while. Who are you? Asks this little girl. I'm Jessie. Who are you? And this little girl says, I'm Gatsby. Where are you going? Jessie asks. And Gatsby says, to potion class. Okay. I'll come with you, says Jessie. Oh, truth is I wanted to make sure she was safe until she was in the hands of the teachers. Feels like a big sister to this little girl, who is obviously also their sister. Duh. Brings this girl to the potions class. Thank you, says the little girl, her eyes happy again. You haven't ever seen her eyes happy before. Oh, they bond instantly. Zoe loves her too. After a few days, Jessie and Zoe are taking care of this little girl Gatsby like she's our little sister. Hint, hint. I met a few other people at the town. By the end of my first 2 weeks there, Zoe was my best friend and Gatsby was my little girl. Okay? Got it? I was really starting to enjoy this place, and everything's okay for about a month. Oh, wow. So they have a whole month there. I've begun to forget about Bot, the evil guy. Did you forget about him? I think I forgot about him a little bit. One day, Seth decided to rain on my parade. Damn it, Seth! How dare you make this a real story? He called me, Zoe, Matt, Rick, and Gatsby to a table. Now that you've learned your heritage, my little ones, it is time for you to take on a massive quest. Well, that didn't take long. And Gatsby says, I don't know my heritage because we have not yet revealed that Gatsby's part of their family. I knew, but we haven't revealed it yet. And so Seth just says, you were the youngest child of 5. Of these 5. Easy. Done. She's our sister too, says Jessie. Seth says you 5 are a family. You were separated after the death of your father and it's time you got back together. Look at your palms. Ooh. So they all look down at their palms and they all have little black scars on their palms. And he says, the mark that Bot seared into you when you were born, it meant he was tracking you. But your parents tried to erase them. But Bot wants all 5 of you, and you have to fight him. He won't rest until he gets you, so you have to fix this. Why do we have to stop him, says Jessie? Because you're the only ones powerful enough to do it. Seth then says, you have to leave in the morning. Children, this is the most important thing you will ever do, and I'm sorry I couldn't postpone it for a while, but now is your time. It's the time that you saved the world, and you can do it. In fact, you're the only ones that can. Get a good sleep. I'll see you in the morning. Seth said it like it was an easy thing to do. Obviously, they're not gonna sleep. I didn't sleep well, as you might imagine. When the morning came, she'd never been so nervous. So they're about to be sent on a quest, and I really don't know. They don't know at all what this is supposed to entail. Basically, they've just been told you need to go defeat this super evil magician. Off you go. There's no context. So she goes downstairs. Zoe came in, then Rick and Matt. Oh, Matt and Jesse have barely spoken to each other. Oh, and she can see there's some anxiety between Zoe and Rick as well. So these two sibling sets are not doing well. They're all siblings, but Zoe and Rick grew up together and Matt and Jesse grew up together. And these pairs are not doing well. Gatsby was just by herself with, Nana and Papa, who were just drinking all the time, apparently. Matt comes over to Jesse and says, "Morning, Jess." She says, "Good morning, Matt." Matt says, "Okay, well, Seth says that I shouldn't be mad at you and that I should apologize." For what? Like, why are they mad? I don't know why they're mad at each other. I think Matt is still mad that Jesse saved them from the Wolfman. So I guess I'm sorry. Yeah, me too. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I guess I was just jealous, says Matt. And Jesse says, "That's okay, Matt, as long as you realize it." "I don't want to fight with you, but you can't just take all of the glory," says Matt. "She did it, though. I'll take what I have to. I need to keep you guys safe." Okay, and Matt says, "You don't need to protect me." And Jesse says, "Not just you, Matt. Everyone. Gaddy and Zoe and Rick, I'm the oldest." And Matt says, "By how much?" And Jesse says, "A year." "Look, Matt, we were separated for 3 years. We're bound to have some disagreements. We shouldn't worry about this." You probably have disagreements even if you weren't separated for 3 years. We're siblings. That happens. But Matt's not having it. But it doesn't matter because at that point, Zoe comes over. Oh, but she looks scared. "Still couldn't believe she was my sister." Oh, Gatsby comes over and Jesse picks her up again. "Good morning, children." Seth rushes into the room, smiled at us as if we were going to a bakery rather than going to face an evil being. "Good morning, Seth," says Rick. In the entire group, Rick was the one I knew the least. Yeah, that makes a certain amount of sense. He was very quiet, but he seemed caring. He would be a good asset for the quest. Nice. "Children, I know you must be nervous, but you must understand this is a Vigest quest." Vital. "You have to step up and face the music." He hasn't really given them any information. So do we just go to Bot's place and kill him, or what's the deal? Says Zoe. "You'll know when you get there. But first you must get there. You must journey through a world that is unknown to anyone but a cloud child. I'll be able to get you into the world, but once you're there, you must face challenges and take care of enemies without anyone's help. You'll have to look out for each other and find Bot before it's too late within 3 days' time." Again, another 3 days. "He will be coming to this village to retrieve you. 3 days, children. In 3 days, he will be the most powerful." "Why?" says Matt. "Oh, because in 3 days, he is reached the age of infinite power, and the power will be the strongest on the first day. It will be the perfect time to capture you 5. He will not be at his palace in 3 days, so you must get there before that. Good luck. I know you can do it. I know you can win." That's it. That's their quest. Then he waves his hand and a black door appears. Matt says, "I'll go first." He looked determined, so I let him go because Jesse's in charge now, remember. Oh, Seth gives him a bracelet, identical to their mother's. The mark of a cloud child. It will protect you. They have enchantments that can boost your powers or protect you against enemies. You'll each need one. That's why their mother had that bracelet. Matt takes the bracelet and jumps through the door. Seth gives Rick a bracelet, tosses him through the door. Then says Gatsby, and then says Jesse and Zoe will take care of you. Doesn't care about the boys. And picks Gatsby up and throws her through the door. He gives Zoe her bracelet. Zoe jumps through the door. And then he looks at Jesse, says, "Jesse, promise me you'll be careful. Take care of the others." Oh, this is the big cliffhanger. This is the end of Jesse's 20-page chapter. And says, "Take care of the others." And Jesse says, "Seth, calm down." Felt like he was placing weights on my shoulders. "You're not my dad." And Seth just smiles and says, "Actually, my dear, I am." And then he shoves her through the doorway. And we've got an ending impact statement. And then it was black. What? What? That is the end of Jesse's 20-page chapter. They have been thrown into this next world. They are about to go on their quest. The 5 of them that have all realized finally that they're siblings. Apparently Seth is their dad. There you go. That is the episode. We will be back with the next chapter, and we will be back with Zoe. Oh, she has a bold font as well for her handwriting. I don't know why I bolded half of these, but okay. See you in the next episode.